Nation Overtime.
All right, welcome back to Nittany Nation Overtime. Steve, in 2019, the pass defense was arguably a big weak spot on that side of the ball. And now in 2020, yes, they held Michael Penix to about less than 100 yards until about a minute to go, but then you really get exposed when you got Justin Fields back there. What are they not getting? What is the biggest issue with that unit?
Well, first of all, on a positive note, I think Joey Porter's played really, really well. I mean, he got beat for a touchdown, but that was a perfect pass and it was a great catch. So he's played really, really good football. I think, again, coordination between the guys. It's a passing game now, so you have to have safeties that can cover. And there's a question is whether we have a safety that can cover one-on-one. So, maybe we need to take a look at maybe one of the kids that is playing corner now to come in and play that slot position on defense, to take that slot receiver, because we need some help there as far as our secondary is concerned. And and I think Fields has played pretty good. At the other corner, although he did whiff on that touchdown. Not on the touchdown, but the 62-yard run.
Right. He
whiffed on that, which caused a major problem. But for the most part, I think they're better than last year. But because of Porter's play, but I think maybe they might have to make some changes back there on downs, on certain downs.
And this is where they are at 0-2. There's going to be a shorter leash on personnel-wise. I mean, I'm not as familiar with the next level of players that they have who aren't necessarily in there regularly. But when you're 0-2, at some point there's going to be probably some reevaluation of some guys.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they take a harder look at Jair Brown, the JUCO transfer. I mean, he's played a lot of football, albeit at a lower level. Hasn't been tremendous when he's been in there, but maybe has a little bit more of an upside. But to Steve's point, I mean, you look at the play where the receiver got behind Marquise Wilson, and there was no safety help whatsoever. And you have two veteran guys back there, in Wade and the other JUCO transfer who nobody got over to help, the young guy. So they really just need anybody to step up. And the other thing in that Ohio State game, very surprised they didn't get more of a pass rush. Yeah. Only 2 quarterback hurries and 2 sacks. Now the 2 sacks were both good. One was really good, but that's going to hurt when you have safeties who aren't great cover people. You absolutely need to have a pass rush, and they didn't have that when they needed it against Ohio State. Yeah.
Now there were 2 big-time highlights in the game. There was the Jahan Dotson one-handed catch, and then the photo taken by Mark Brennan, keep in mind from about 60 yards away of that one-handed catch. Mark, I'll go back to you. Juwan Johnson had that incredible one-handed catch, but I don't think I've ever seen a play where he just sticks his paw up like that and it just sticks and it turns into a touchdown. I mean, how would you describe what you saw there?
Yeah, sometimes the things that are closest in the rearview mirror are the ones that kind of stick out to you. But I have to say that is as good a catch, maybe up with David Daniels in the Holiday Bowl, that I've ever seen from a Penn State receiver. And listen, what a game for that kid to step up. When you look at some of the negatives out of that game for Penn State, if you want to look at a gigantic positive, him emerging as a go-to receiver. You have somebody other than Pat Fryermuth who Clifford could get comfortable with, I think is just big, and I think it's going to allow those younger guys, what a catch. That thing was spectacular. And then he takes it in the end zone. I mean, it's like the Ohio State guys were like, oh, my God, I can't believe this.
James says he generally doesn't like one-handed catches.
Like that one.
He'll take that one.
Yeah, for sure. Parker Washington, I think, has done a pretty good job so far. And Clifford has played well in the second half of both these games. They got to figure out a way to start quicker and get him and everybody more comfortable early. But I do want to tip to him because the second half he's shown a lot of tenacity.
Moxie.
Yeah, moxie. That's right.
But one guy that I would, Jack, I'm sorry to interrupt, but one guy that I think really you cannot overlook is Jordan Stout.
Yeah.
Not only does he hit the 50-yard field goal, but he holds on Pinniger's field goal. and then he allows no return yards as the kickoff man
Exactly.
and punter.
Yeah.
This against an Ohio State team that we know how explosive their athletes are.
Right.
He was my number 2 player of the game. I think Jordan Stout, getting him as a transfer from Virginia Tech, I do not know why Virginia Tech didn't give that kid a scholarship. They should have given him a scholarship because he's an impact player.
Yeah, he averaged
Absolutely.
49 yards on 4 punts.
Absolutely.
All right, coming up next, no better medicine than a team you beat by a combined 157 points in the last 3 years. Prediction time. That's next.